Hi, we're back. Thanks for staying with us and joined in studio now by Matt Chipman. Matt is the president of a company called Green Chip Investor Relations. Matt, always good to see you.
Glad to be here again.
You know, it's been, I think, probably, let's face it, 2016 is going to go down in history as the craziest election year in our lifetimes, maybe in the history of the United States.
Yeah, no doubt. We have two candidates that were certainly viewed unfavorably initially, and probably still, but people have to make a choice. I have not really waffled too much on my politics over the years, but I certainly have given pause to my normal voting pattern this year.
Well, you've been very magnanimous in saying that there are two candidates, because let's face it, people either love them or they hate them. There doesn't seem to be any middle ground on each.
I expect a lot of dirt clods being thrown from here on out. It'll make interesting television. I'm looking forward to getting back to business stability. But whoever wins is going to have a lot of work on their hands, and we have the same issues and problems that existed before that are going to continue.
Well, it's kind of interesting because I look at the two candidates and they're so diametrically opposed in their philosophies and their ideologies. They each have a lot of baggage with them, so to speak. One that comes to mind, though, when I think of a Donald Trump presidency, you look at all the things that we're facing, all the problems that we're facing in this country, and you can't point the finger at Trump and say any of these are his fault, because he's not a politician. He's a novice politician getting into the game for the first time. You look at Clinton, and she certainly has the resume, First Lady, Secretary of State, Senator, this type of thing. But I think what we're seeing right now is probably the dirtiest, nastiest, and will likely be the most expensive campaign ever.
Well, it certainly will. I watched quite a pretty interesting documentary on the money in politics and how it's they've opened up the ability of companies to back their choices and put more money into it. So yeah, the money's going to be huge. I'm going to be carefully watching who the candidates surround themselves by. Right. I mean, I think putting yourself around quality people and people that have experience is going to be important for both candidates. Quite honestly, I thought Clinton's choice of vice president was pretty well orchestrated and solid. I also thought highly of Trump's pick. So it'll not to get into who I'm choosing, but it will be interesting from here to see how it evolves.
Well, I've always compared the presidential election cycle to like a heavyweight bout, and the preliminary weigh-in were the two conventions. And really, I think this election is going to come down to, the decision is going to come down to how they behave during the debates.
Yeah, I agree. Election years are challenging in the stock market. you're going to have a lot of bounces. I think that happened the last several elections. If you notice, when you came up to the time of the choice and the actual knowing who was selected, there's more of a stochastic bounce one way or the other. Right now, the markets are pretty steady considering what's happening worldwide. We're getting there isn't any other place you can put money. Right. Oil has made its drop, and companies are thriving on that because shipping goods are cheaper for large companies, and interest rates are going down even more, especially now that the Brexit issue and England has dropped rates again to shore up things over there. It's putting our interest rates down lower too.
I think the biggest issue we're facing, quite frankly, is the national debt. It's going to hit $20 trillion sometime this year or next. And we've mentioned this before. If we started paying that off at $1 million per hour, it would take 2,300 years. But let's talk about your company. Got a little less than a minute left. I know that you take a look at small companies, small cap companies. Tell us a brief little thing about Green Chip Investor Relations.
Well, we help companies get noticed. We also do things a little differently. I've had a lot of experience in marketing companies through a lot of different mediums. I also have a lot of people that contact me still to find out what I'm doing. What do I like? I have special situations that I monitor closely. I mean, there's an interesting turn that's going on because of the strength in gold and some of the other precious metals and commodities. There's junior miners that are now popping up on my radar that were just absolutely the worst stocks you could invest in. in the last 3 years that are now getting kind of some attention. So, you know, I suggest if anybody wants to learn more about what I do, I would say shoot me an email or visit my website. My email is matt, M-A-T-T, @greenchipir.com, and I'll respond.
Again, Greenchip Investor Relations, greenchipir.com is their website. Matt, your influence and your analysis is always so welcome in this program. Thanks for joining us.
Appreciate you having me on again, Don.